Have you ever attended an autopsy? Yes, you heard me correctly, an autopsy. Weird question to ask on an encouraging podcast such as this, right? Well, get ready to join me, honored guest Karli Miethe, and host Eric Miller as we perform an autopsy together. Not on a human body, but rather on the dreaded exam known as the NCLEX, the great gatekeeper that often is the last thing standing in the way of a nursing student and their nursing career. So get ready to hear my dramatic tale of heartbreak and joy in this episode of Feeding Our Young podcast. Welcome to the Feeding Our Young podcast.
Hello and welcome to this episode of the Feeding Our Young podcast. So as you just heard from the intro, this is not a usual episode. It is a standalone episode, but you're going to want to listen to it. If you're a nursing student, you definitely want to listen to it. If you're a nurse, I'm going to challenge you to listen to it as well. And you're going to see why here in a little bit. But before I digress and get into the meat of the matter, I'm going to actually digress and go off in a different tangent because I'm not, we're kind of in the height of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, actually a low point in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They talk about the multiverse, and it's been done in cinema and TV many times before, this idea of multiple universes, right? That every decision you make changes the way you go. So maybe in another universe, you actually went that direction instead of this direction. And for me, even though I don't believe in multiple universes, if there were such a thing, I know that in one of them, I'm a mortician. There's an Eric Miller mortician out there who's taking care of dead bodies, but more importantly, taking care of the families that loved the people represented by those dead bodies. And again, way to go with the positive podcast here, right? We're going to talk about death, mortality. No, not any of that. The idea is that, of course, God forbid something happens to me, it's a crime, something like that. Likely what's going to happen is an autopsy. Autopsy is just that, right? They're dissecting the human body, they're looking at all the clues, they're trying to find out, how did this person die? What happened? What went wrong? What occurred to end this person's life? And yet the same term is used to describe things that don't have to do with death and things nearly as morbid, but maybe corporate speak, right? Like where, oh gosh, this meeting did not go well, or it went very well, or whatever. Now let's perform an autopsy, also known as a post-mortem, right? They're going to say, well, let's run a post-mortem on this and find out exactly how this went, what went down, and all the things. So because I am not the Eric Miller of another universe and working on dead bodies, I am here performing a different sort of autopsy with the amazing and incredible, previously featured honored guest Karli Miethe. Karli, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm honored to be back again.
I'm honored to have you back.
Yeah, I'm honored to assist you on our autopsy.
I love it. And so, of course, those that are longtime listeners and or listeners to multiple episodes, they know kind of the format that we do. I soft lob some easy questions, but we're not doing that with Karli today because she already had that episode. So I encourage you, if you want to get to know Karli a little more, either before or after this one, go back and listen to episode 161, titled Karli Miethe, now part 1, Even Your Struggles Become Part of Your Growth. Yeah, that title is turning out to be a little more poignant than originally planned, right, Karli?
Oh, yeah. That is just my title of my life right now, so yeah, very fitting.
Well, it's been so long since I sat down with her, and by so long, I'm being incredibly sarcastic, but it's been so long, we've had multiple physical changes, right, Karli? What's new in your world that we are maybe hearing from you at the moment?
I got Invisalign, so I'm sounding a little lispy this episode. Heads up if you've heard my last episode.
she goes, hey, I'm going to be a little lispier than the last time. I hope that's okay. And I'm like, yeah, do you mind if I talk about it in the actual episode? Because in the meantime, I have aged a little bit since I last saw her. I've joined the bespectacled group, those that wear glasses. I finally had to admit to myself that all those years of night shift, 17, and the whole aging thing. Those two things combined to force me to now wear glasses. Progressives at that. It's more than just an insurance. I know. And so I've never felt more old in my life, and yet I've never seen more clearly in my life. So it's really fun. The things we do. Right, Karli?
Yeah.
All right. Enough babbling. So, nursing students, as I said, you're going to want to listen to this because we're going to talk about Karli's NCLEX journey. Nurses, I'm going to encourage you to listen to this too because oftentimes you are going to be precepting nursing students, right? Nursing students have a lot of things on their mind. We don't have to, I don't have to explain that. When they're in clinical, gosh, especially the first shift, they're terrified. They haven't been there. They don't know what's going on. I'm trying to keep all these skills in my mind. I'm trying to make sure that my nurse doesn't hate me. What are people going to think about me? Or my patients? Can I talk to patients? If I touch somebody, if I do a blood pressure wrong, what are people going to think? All of those things competing for mind space. And then on top of that, especially if you have the privilege of hosting a practicum student, typically, that's the last step before the last step. And the last step, of course, being that dreaded NCLEX. So, before Karli gets to turn over, I turn over the mic to Karli and she gets to talk, I want to go back to her episode ever so briefly. So, she says here in that episode, but along with that, I talked to one of the nurses on the labor and delivery side and then one of the nurses on the postpartum side who didn't pass their NCLEX the first time. And they just kind of reassured me that, like, no matter if you pass or you don't, again, it doesn't make you any less of a nurse than the person sitting next to you. And just because you don't pass a stinking test, we're going to emphasize stinking, does not mean that you are not going to be a good nurse. So I'm really trying to hold on to that and remind myself, because I'm not the greatest test taker. When I got my EMT license, I failed the first time, and again, thought the world was ending, and it went into a spiral, and then passed it the next time. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, praying that doesn't happen with the NCLEX. But again, kind of like we've been talking throughout the whole episode, just because you don't do it the first time doesn't mean that you're going to be any less of a nurse or a person. So really hold on to that. Karli, you're the third honored guest that I now have had the honor of speaking with, at least that I know of, that didn't pass the NCLEX on the first time. Hearing those words of your own right now, how does that make you feel at the moment, like hearing Karli of pre-NCLEX?
I want to go back and give her a hug. She was so much more anxious than she needed to be, for sure. But just kind of interesting how I was giving myself advice for the future that I didn't necessarily at the time know was going to be my future or my route, but it was. And honestly, when you sent me some of the quotes that I had said in my last episode before I had texted you, said, hey, didn't pass.
Yeah.
You'd sent me some quotes from my last episode, and reading those back, I couldn't believe that I was the one that said them. But at the same time, I was like, I'm taking my own advice. Like, this is a full 360 moment.
I've got goosebumps. This is so weird that, you're speaking to yourself without knowing that you're speaking to yourself, right?
Yeah.
Well, for those who haven't listened to the episode, and even for those who have, let's start this journey, this autopsy where it all began, right?
Yes.
You graduated, life is great, we're studying for the NCLEX. So walk us through we're just going to take this step by step. Okay, let me back up even one step further and just emphasize what I realize is already in that little snippet that I just had there. But historically, have you, even in high school and before, have you always not been a great test taker? Talk to us about that.
I would say I was a pretty decent test taker in high school because it was they were a lot closer together than I would say that they are in college.
Yeah.
But then once it came to college, I don't know what it was about. I think it was having to put everything together. The reading, the anxiousness, the studying, everything coming together at once just for some reason made it so much more difficult for me, especially in nursing school. That first semester was really when I was like, oh, I think I need to change the way that I'm taking my tests. So yeah, it's kind of just been a little bit of a pattern throughout the after high school of my life. So yeah.
Yeah, I thank you for emphasizing that. The reason why I brought that up is because I, on the flip side, without tooting my own horn, was always a great test taker. High school, middle school, it didn't matter. Like, the brains were there, okay? Now, common sense, a little bit different. Street smarts, a little bit different. But the book smarts, man, I was that prototypical, please, I got this. I still have to study and all the things, but typically vastly less than my peers and or much closer to the exam than my peers. And I never really struggled with that. And yet, the reason why I bring up both of these sides of the coin is because the NCLEX, I tell people, is the one exam that anyone can prepare their heart out for and their mind out for and go and sit and take it and come out of it, myself included, feeling like the stupidest person in the world.
Yeah.
If I did not have my peer Larry, shout out to Larry Mays, I don't know what he's doing these days, but man, he was my best friend through nursing school. And he was like, Eric, he's like, you got the minimum number of questions? I said, yeah. He goes, then you either were incredible, you know what I mean? You either incredibly proved that you were able to do it or you didn't. And there's no way, knowing you, that you did not pass that exam and that you were able to prove your incompetence, for a lack of a better term, in 85 questions. And his heart was in the right place. Like, it doesn't mean that, you know, if you fail an exam, the NCLEX, it doesn't mean you're incompetent. What he's saying, though, was you did it. You're like, I know you, I know your character, and I know you passed this, but I can't describe to you adequately. Hearing those words, my mind registered them, but my heart did not. Because my heart is like, that was the worst exam. There were medications that I swear you give to, like, aliens on Mars.
Yes.
Yeah. And you're like,
still,
what is this? And so, hats off to the, question writers and the people involved in all that. I don't know who you are, and I don't want to know you. No offense.
Me neither.
But that's why I bring that up, because this, for those that are happening to listen, any loved ones who know a nurse, who aren't in the field, just so you know, when your son, your daughter, your sister, your brother, your spouse, whoever, sits for this NCLEX, we're not joking when we say it is horrendous. It is absolutely horrendous. So with that, Karli, and with establishing that, now let's take the journey. So you graduated. How did you prepare the first time? Remind us, how did you prepare the first time for that first NCLEX exam?
Yeah, so the first time I went to the boot camp that our school provided after we graduated, which I still encourage anybody that's listening to this that hasn't taken it. If your school provides it, you should 100% do it.
Mm-hmm.
I did. I learned a lot from that. I think that I just waited too far after that to take it. So a lot of the knowledge that they kind of reminded me of or tips that they gave me, I kind of forgot, unfortunately. And then looking back, I did some things that I probably would not have done again, but I had a whole month. So I graduated December 5th. We did that little boot camp thing, and I think we were done with that the following week. So somewhere around like the 10th. I took the rest of the month off because Christmas was coming up, and I was like, I need a break.
Yeah, holidays.
And so I took the rest of that month off. I think I took through, I think I started really studying around the 2nd or the 3rd. And I just did Archer questions. I was told by so many people, it's a safety exam, just get used to what they're asking you and the questions and the format. And so that's really all I did. I would take notes here and there, and I watched a couple videos on things that I wasn't really competent on. But that was all I did. Yes.
And that's what I mean. And you say that's all you did, and yet for some, maybe that would work. Maybe that would be enough, even with the delay, even without a delay. I don't know. So that's what you did. You can't rewrite that part of the story, right? And in fact, when I recorded with you, you were still waiting to get your authorization to test.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's part of you know what I mean? That's part of this whole thing too. But that being said, so you do these plans, you focus on the Archer questions, and then you go in and you're going to take the NCLEX. So talk to us about taking the NCLEX the first time. What was the sights? What were you feeling? What was it like going to go take this exam?
Yeah. So I am an anxious person. I wouldn't say I have crippling anxiety, but definitely when I overthink things and I think about things too much, I feel it in my gut. I feel it in my the way I sleep. Like it all adds up. And so leading up to the exam, the first half of the week, I was fine. I was planned to take my exam on a Friday. I was fine. I felt okay, like, anxious, of course.
Yeah.
The night before was insane. I was so close to tears, just so anxious. I actually texted my mom and dad and I was like, I need you guys to come over. Like, I need a hug. I need reassurance that this is going to be okay. Like, I am so nervous, so nervous.
Yeah.
I had a little bit of dinner, but I really wasn't that hungry. So, yeah, I was just overtaken by like the nerves and anxiety the night before. So when I woke up that next day, I got ready. I got to the exam place like an hour early because I was like, I don't know, could get a flat tire on the way there. My 11-minute drive, you never know. So I was there and I sat in my car, and again, something I wish I didn't do was I listened to videos and I went over my notes right before going into the testing center. Trying to get myself just to like remember the things that I already knew. Because those nerves, you could ask me a question randomly and I will tell you the exact same answer over and over and over. And I will get to a test and I'll forget that answer and I'll forget how to logically think and I will put the wrong answer down. And so, yeah, I went into that exam sweating profusely.
Oh.
I remember they take a little picture of you before, and it was horrible. The whole experience was horrible. The people there were not very nice. They were kind of like sharp and strict and kind of grouchy, and so it was just all around, what's going on?
Yeah.
And so I sit down, I start my test, and I kid you not, an hour goes by. I got the full 150. It went to 86 and I felt faint. I was like, this is not happening right now. Yeah. I'm failing. I'm not doing good. Like, I knew it in my gut that I was going to get 150 and I did. And I took it within an hour, hour and a half, which is really fast for
I was gonna say
questions.
That's because do you recall? Can you explain how long they allot? Is it still like I want to say it's like 3 hours?
5 hours.
5 hours. Okay.
Yeah.
I knew it's an inordinate amount of hours.
Time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you could take ample time on these questions, but I was so nervous that I was just click, 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 click. Yeah. And I remember walking out of the testing room, knowing in my gut I failed. Like they say that everybody knows, but I knew I did not do good. I called my dad and I was just bawling. I'm like, I don't know what just happened. They gave me so many questions on things I've never heard of. I've been a tech in the ER. I've been a tech on multiple med-surg floors. I'm like, I have never heard of any of these diseases. Like, what in the world?
Yeah.
And so within 4 hours of taking that test, I got the dreaded email that said NCLEX failure. And so that was rough. But going back to that picture, even the picture of me, I looked like I had just mugged somebody. Like, it was just all around bad.
Yeah. Well, and I'd like to speak on that because, I mean, there's an incredible suspenseful movie, maybe not for everybody out there, called 1 Hour Photo. And my wife and I really enjoy it. We've seen it multiple times. It's actually Robin Williams, comedian extraordinaire, rest in peace, who played it was one of two movies that I know of where he played a bad guy. And in this case, he's a photo tech at a Walmart type store. And anyway, he kind of develops this. It's kind of a stalking thing. He develops this crush on this wife, but then he found. Anyway, I don't want to give anything away from it. But there's a very poignant quoted there, and I don't have it in front of me. But it is something about the fact that we take pictures of the things we want to remember. And granted, now I feel like that's watered down. I don't want to show my age as previously described, but it's watered down in modern times because what are we doing? We're taking pictures of our food, we're posting
everything.
Online. Yeah, everything. Because before you had film. And that's what this movie's about. People would bring their rolls of film in, he'd develop them. And so you had a limited number of pictures on that roll. And it cost money to buy rolls of film for your camera and then to then go get those pictures developed. So it wasn't this ubiquitous experience where you could just take pictures of everything and anything and in the moment that you need to, and you have all this thing and all this digital space. And so it was a very big thing. You took pictures of things that you wanted to remember. Dear God, I know that they have to take your picture when you're going in. They got to identify that you are who you are. But who in their right mind is going there dressed up, dolled up, and feeling their best?
Literally. I was so crushed when I got that email, but I looked at the picture and I think I was more crushed about that picture, honestly. I was like, who did I just murder? Like, is this like my mugshot? Like, what?
Did I black out? I don't remember killing someone on my way in.
Literally, yeah.
Now, this email that you received, was that something you paid extra for, or was that just a standard? Is that something people could expect to experience if they fail the NCLEX?
That was a free surprise.
Oh,
yes.
Yay! You get this email and you're like, oh.
Yeah, so kind of going back to like finding out results, I've heard some people who take them on a weekday can find out within 24 hours because it's a weekday and they're actively upgrading and updating the site where they say if your license is active or pending.
Yeah.
But I took it on a Friday both times. And so I was fully expecting to wait the full 48 hours.
Yeah.
And so when I checked my email that afternoon and I got the title of the email was like, notice of NCLEX failure. I was... Oh! Yes. Yes, exactly my reaction. Exactly my reaction. I was crushed. I cried for like 4 or 5 hours.
Oh.
Yeah. It was horrible. It really crushed me.
Let me ask you too, and not to, you know what I mean, try and lighten the crushing moment that is, but in that moment you get that email, and I guess I see why the title is what it is. They don't want you to think, you know what I mean, worst case scenario, it's like,
they don't want you
maybe
to
they think you've passed,
yes.
and then you open it, and then you're like, it's a double whammy. But on that note, in that moment, because you expected to wait a whole weekend of misery thinking that you failed, was there any point where you sort of felt a little bit of relief just knowing that quickly?
I would say yes. I would say day 3 or 4.
Day 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, it's crushing. This is a crushing moment. There's no silver lining to this right now.
No. Yeah. And then I had people like on top of that. My community. I love my community. I text people. I keep them updated on what's going on, and I love that they check in with me. And so I had people texting me, "How did you do? Or did you find out your results yet?"
Yeah.
And as much as I like appreciated that, it just felt like kind of ripping the Band-Aid off every single time again and re-exposing that wound.
Yeah.
So I would say day 3, after I kind of had told everybody, hey, I didn't pass, and after I'd kind of swallowed that pill, I felt better. I felt better. So I took it on a Friday, found out on a Friday.
Yeah.
Sunday, I went to church and ran into a nurse that I had become friends with through teching. And she was like, how did you do? And I was like, I just found out I didn't pass. That was the first time I said it without crying. So I was very proud of myself for that.
Progress, right?
Yes. And she was like, oh, don't even worry about it. We'll get together. We'll meet up. We'll go over some lectures together. Like, you're going to pass next time. Like, don't even worry about it. And so that was like the first interaction that I had where I was like, okay, it's going to be okay. I think it's going to be okay.
The first moment where you have a little bit of hope.
Yeah. And I just, I got to give it all to God too after that. I got to sit through church and just kind of, what's going on? What's your plan for me? Like, what are we doing here? Yeah. But that day, that Sunday, really just kind of flipped the script for me, for sure.
Incredible. Again, we're kind of right still at we're just coming out of this valley, right?
Yeah.
On this timeline. And I love that there is this nurse angel, really, who's just like, you got this. We're fine.
Yes, literally so true.
So here we are now at the doorstep of hope. I guess I'll call it that, right? You're at the doorstep of hope. is it time to formulate a plan? Do you still need to digest this all a little bit longer? Like, what were the next steps for you in that moment?
Yeah, I decided to take a week off just to kind of give myself somewhat of a break, just kind of fully relax, do nothing, um, like a hard reset almost.
Yeah.
Um, and so while I was on that little week break, I did research a bunch of different ways how people study, um, and kind of just recalculated my steps from there.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I would say after that week, I was sent the Mark K lectures, and I would literally go to battle for that man. The lectures I got, I don't know if they're the same ones that he has on his website, but I was sent them by a friend. They're very old. Like, they were talking about Rock Band in these lectures. Like, it was like the new game. So, like, that was a while ago.
Yeah, yeah.
But the way that he teaches some of the most basic, simple complexes makes me wish that there were more teachers that taught like him. Because there were some things that I spent months and months and months studying in nursing school that he said once, and the way that he remembers it once. And to this moment, I will never forget it because it's so much easier. It is so much easier than how they teach you in nursing school. And so, yeah, I listened to his videos, and he has 12, and I listened to every single one, and I would recommend that for people, even if you feel pretty confident. Like I said, he just says things and teaches things in a way that just sticks, and you're like, oh yeah, he was literally right here on my shoulder the entire time I took that second exam, because I was like remembering word for word things he was saying. So yeah, that is where I started my next steps of studying. And then I also still had my Archer subscription. It was going to be good through the next exam that I took.
Nice.
Which was a blessing too. That's expensive. I didn't want to spend more money on that. So I did Mark K lectures, writing out all of the notes, along with probably anywhere from 85 to 150 questions 3 or 4 times a week.
Whew. That's a lot.
Yeah, and it was a lot more than I did the first time around, too.
Now, so you're increasing the volume of these questions. Did it add to your confidence? Are you know what I mean? Is it just layering more on the foundation? Like, what does that do for you?
Layering more on the foundation, I think for sure. A lot of the stuff I learned in like nursing school, I learned and I did fine on the test, but then I kind of tuck it away and put it to the side. Especially when there's more, like, how it's structured is you do kind of like, for our school was, the first semester was like geriatrics and pharmacology, and then it was med surg, and then it was peds and OB, and then it was psych and practicum. So you kind of compartmentalize those subjects and kind of just tuck them away a little bit, because all of these other subjects require just as much focus and memorization. And so I think that's definitely what had happened to me, was I tucked away a lot of that basic knowledge that I think I needed for the exam. So it was a little bit of rebuilding from the beginning, just reconstructing that foundation for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And so then let's talk time frame, right? From the time that you're doing all this. So you fail test number 1, and then what is the mandatory waiting period, and did you butt right up against that, or did you give yourself a little more time?
So the mandatory waiting period is 40 days, I think. 40 days? Yeah, 40 days. I thought it was 40 days from when you took your last NCLEX. I'm pretty sure it's 40 days from when you schedule your ATT.
Oh.
Yes. So that also could have been scheduling weirdness.
Yeah.
I scheduled it for March 27th, but they only had 1 day a month available. Oh. So it was, I wait that extra long time to take it at the end of March, or I have to wait again and take it in April. And so I was like, I guess I'm waiting those 40 something days and taking it at the end of March.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
And then now unless there's anything else you want to address on that, preparing for the test again, that brings us to the doorstep of test number 2.
Yes.
And so you've done the work, you've put in the effort, you've done the Mark K lectures, you're doing the Archer questions, you're increasing the volume of questions, quantity of questions, all the things. Now you've got this semi-crippling anxiety that you had to deal with the first time. So Here we are, the echo comes back around. How do you deal with that, a couple days leading up to, night before, all of that?
Well, actually, my mother-in-law gave me a really good piece of advice. She said, it sucks that you didn't pass your first time, but that was the best practice test you could have taken. And I was like, oh, that's a great point.
I love it.
This is not my advice to people. Don't go in there and fail purposefully, please.
Preparing this is just a practice test. We're fine.
Yeah. But if that does happen to you, it really is. You kind of know what to expect. And so leading up that week to the exam, Archer has this feature where you can buy what's called an exit exam, and it's a set 150 questions. It's timed, and it's basically like a mock of the NCLEX.
Okay.
And so in my head, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go in again expecting the full 150. If it shuts off at 85, ooh, I'm surprised. That's awesome. That's great. But I want to prepare for that full 150 because that's a lot of questions.
Yeah.
And so I did the full 150. I got that exit exam and I did the full 150. I went to a library, somewhere where it was just out of like my space. One of my, now friends, but one of my nurse teachers that I had the first semester of nursing school actually said, why don't you imitate test day? Get up at the time that you're going to get up, eat what you think you're going to eat, pretend like it's the exam day. And so that's what I did.
And part of that, going somewhere where you're a little less comfortable.
Oh yeah. And there's distractions,
Yeah.
Because as boxed up you are when you take the NCLEX, there's still distractions. Your mind wanders, And so this was the perfect spot for me. And so I sat down, I pretended like my license was riding on this, and I think I took it in 3.5 hours was the time I took for this practice test. But I really thought out every single question, and I used my scratch paper front, back. I had to go get another one. Really practiced. I pretended like it was the real thing.
Can I ask, when you took the first NCLEX, did you use you almost make it sound like you used more of the scratch paper than you did the first time?
Yeah. So when I took the first NCLEX, I probably used my scratch paper for about 45 questions, and then I just stopped using it.
Then you just went into go mode, and then of course you hit 86, and you're like, okay, now I'm just click.
Yeah, I hit 86. My world was ending. I'm like, oh gosh.
Yeah, let's get this over with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that really had something to do with me passing the second time. Surprise, I passed the second time, by the way, everybody. But yeah, just pretending like that was the exam, taking it for real, like not that I wasn't taking it for real the first time I studied, but the second time there was just so much more riding on it.
Yeah.
And so day before comes, I don't study a lick. I put all my books away. I put all of that stress and that worry away. And I actually went and hung out with my sister-in-law and her 2 kids because I was like, I just need something that's going to take my mind off it.
Yeah.
And I love my niece and nephew so much. And so I helped her with just some chores around the house and got to love on my baby nephew and my niece, and came back home, had a good steak dinner. Or no, I went over to my parents that night for dinner. Which was another thing that we planned. We just wanted to do everything we could that night to get me to just not focus on it.
Yeah.
I got to have a family dinner with them, and going to bed, I admitted to my fiance, I said, I'm a little nervous.
Yeah. Nowhere
Nowhere near as nervous as I was the first time around, but I finally admitted the night before, I'm a little nervous.
Maybe what would be expected if you didn't deal with anxiety to the level, you know what I mean? Those that are, I don't want to say neurotypical, but you know what I mean? Those, it's kind of that baseline anxiety that maybe you would normally expect. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Just the normal amount. Yeah. Whereas before it was not the normal amount.
No.
But one thing I'm gonna say also, just like throughout the whole second round, I did a lot of praying with my family, and I think that that's also something that helped. I just prayed, like, get this crushing anxiety off my chest, like, help me to, focus, but just also have faith and trust in myself. And so that definitely, I think, also was very helpful leading up to exam day.
Yeah. I'm just like, I want to cry just listening to you. I'm like, okay, so here we are. You wake up the morning of, it's test day again, Groundhog's Day for that matter, who knows, but with different results. So you're going back to the fortress. That's what we affectionately called it. You're going back to the lockdown fortress.
It truly feels like that too.
It does.
It really does. Yeah.
And they're going to be taking your mugshot, and you're going to be locking up your valuables, and it's practically everything short of a pat down or strip search. Yeah. Like, come on. All right, so it's test day. Walk us through it.
I woke up, and in my mind, this is so funny, but going back to that picture, I was like, look good, feel good, do good. And so I got up, I did my hair, I put out a nice outfit that I had worn to do my practice test. I put on a little bit of like extra face stuff. Like, I was like, if I'm gonna have to take another dreaded mugshot, I'm gonna be looking good in it. So I got ready. I had a little bit of breakfast, and then my fiance's day off happened to be on this day. He was going to some event in Seattle with his buddies, so I got to spend time with him in the morning too, briefly. But it was just interesting because I remember sitting down to kind of mess with him, and I didn't feel any anxiety. Like, wow. It truly just felt like, oh yeah, I'm just going to do that thing later today. Like, none of the pressure, the worry, the stress that I had before. So yeah, I got up, I bid my farewell to him, and then I drove to the testing center, sat in my car, did not look at my notes or listen to videos. Nice. I listened to solely worship music that whole day. Said a quick prayer, noticed somebody else in their car that looked really anxious, prayed for them too. And then I went in, and I went in a little bit closer to that 8 o'clock start time because I was like, I don't really want to be the first person in there again. Yeah. I want to kind of just take my time with it. And so I was the 7th person in there. Gave me enough time to go to the bathroom before, take a sip of water. But the whole environment was so different. The people were welcoming. They were inviting. They were lovely. Comes time to take my picture, I smile. I'm ready for it this time. I'm like, I'm not looking bad on this thing.
I call it, like, it's the DMV shot, right? You go in for a license picture, and I tell you, I'm like, and I told my kids, because, my kids getting older, they're getting their licenses, and I'm like, you got to do what Dad does. And what Dad does is I go in, and when they say, okay, come step, I am smiling before I turn around. I am smiling as I'm walking up, because you don't know when they're going to take the picture. And I'm like, you're not getting me looking like I'm like half drugged out of my mind. I'm not doing it.
Yes. And I think that's what happened last time. I think there was like an interruption, and so I like wasn't smiling, and that's when they took it, obviously.
So
this time I'm sitting at the desk, and I'm just smiling. And she's like, okay, we got it. And I just smiled for a little bit longer because I was like, just in case. You never know. But yeah, the whole environment was different. It was also a sunny day, so that was awesome.
Nice.
But yeah, the aura of the environment just felt 360 from what it had been the first time around.
I can't help but be the nursing instructor for a minute here, because right there, you guys, just here's a little aside, something you can tuck away for your nursing practice. And that's that. So many things made the biggest difference here between the two. But you're talking about that front desk staff, the first people you interact with. NCLEX number 1, man, they are, I don't know, they didn't eat their Wheaties, their day is horrible, They didn't have a V8, I don't know, and they are letting the world know. Day 2, welcoming, warm, smiles on their faces. First cross-stitch I ever did, which ended up going to my grandma, was a little store-bought pattern that said, smile that improves your face value. It's weird the things that stick in your brain.
True.
But so they are smiling, they're welcoming. That automatically sets your ease bar even lower. Like, okay, no, this is going to be all right. And you guys, when you're practicing nursing, you're going to have days you go into work, you don't want to be there, you don't feel like being there, and sometimes they come a little more frequently the longer you're a nurse. But you have to, like, check that stuff at the door. And when you go to see your patient, man, my worst days, when I walk into a patient room, it's like instantaneously, it reminds me why I'm there. I'm there for them, and I like the smile on my face, all the things. Like, it is there. And it makes a difference for the people you're caring for. So I'm sorry, Karli, to do that short teaching aside.
No, you
But
were
I couldn't
fine.
help but like feel that from you, and just what the quote unquote front desk staff, only the front desk staff. They're the gatekeepers. They're doing their job.
Yep.
But the differences they made between, NCLEX 1 and NCLEX 2, hugely noticeable. So.
Oh yeah, and I totally agree with you. Like, as a past nursing student, some of the worst clinical days I had were when I met my nurse for the day and I was like, they don't want me here. They are not happy to be here. They don't want a nursing student. And some of the best were the days where they were like, oh my gosh, how are you? Like, they really incorporated me. And so, yeah, it did. It made a difference. And it literally made so much of a difference that I told the lady, I said, thank you so much. I said, last time I was here, it was just a weird environment. I want you to know that you are making a great environment, and like this is full 360, such a better experience already. And I haven't even sat down for my test yet.
Wow.
So, yeah. It truly can make a difference. It's true.
It really does. And that's the note to fellow nurses, right? You have a student that day, you don't want a student that day. Sorry. I mean, I've been there. I'm preaching to the choir here, right? Like I am one of them that sometimes is like, all right, I got to have a student today. And yet, it doesn't mean you have the right to just, you know what I mean? Have a smile. Be welcoming. And just be like, okay, hey, maybe you're the person who's like, I got to have my coffee before you know what I mean? I didn't get my coffee. I'm not going to have my coffee till 9. I'm not going to be a real human being till 11, whatever the case may be. Tell that to them.
Exactly.
Just be like, hey, hi, I'm not necessarily glad you're here. I mean, I'm happy to work with you, but also I'm going to be a grump for a while. And I'm so sorry. Just ride my coattails and you'll see the real me after a while. I don't know. Do what you got to do. So then you're taking the exam. How many questions did you get? How did you feel? Walk us through that.
Yeah, so this time around, my goal was to use my scratch paper because it really truly does help me. So I went through 3 scratch pieces of paper.
What are you writing down on that?
Yeah, so back in nursing school, when I realized, I'm not a great test taker, we had a success coordinator. I don't know if they still have that position or not. I know that the gal that was doing it for us got to retire with us, so that was pretty cool.
Yay!
But she taught me a way of doing things. Her and one of my med surg teachers, Teresa, love her. Is you sit down and you look at the question and you read it once and you're like, okay. And then you see how many answer choices there are. You mark A, B, C, D, E, F, however many there are. And you really find in that question what they're asking. So, like, for example, what's the best way to prevent diseases from spreading to other? It would be like A, wear gloves. B, use hand sanitizer. D, use soap and water and wash your hands. E, wipe down the table after serving a patient, right?
Yeah.
And so in that question, I look at those answers and I go through, I normally make them true or false questions. So true, this is what they're asking me. False, this is not what they're asking me. And I'll go down and I'll mark off true, false, false, true. Or I'll mark all the way down. Even if I find the first answer, it's the first, that's the correct answer, I'll go all the way through. But also listening to Mark Klimek, his lectures, he's got some really good strategies on prioritization on his 12th lecture. And so I used a lot of my scratch paper to do those as well. So one of them was expected versus unexpected. And then one of them was stable versus unstable. And there was a whole table of things that made a patient stable, unstable. And so just using it to mark down the things that you know, but also just using it to eliminate those answers was super helpful for me.
Awesome.
Yeah, but like I said, I went through 3 of those. They're only the front because they have to take them away from you after you use it. And you don't have an eraser. So it's like a dry erase board, except you can't erase.
Yep.
So at the top of every one that they gave me, I wrote, "You will be a nurse." And I underlined it. Every single time, it didn't matter if I was in the middle of a question. It was just kind of a reminder to myself that you got this and to keep going. And so this time around, I had 85 questions. At 40, I took a break and I went to the bathroom and got a drink of water because that is allowed. You can take breaks as you need them. And so this time around, I just really wanted to utilize that that time that they gave me, just to kind of take a deep breath, ground myself. You've got this. And so I took a break at 40, and I got all the way up to 84, and I'm like, okay, it could be happening. But
the
you know what?
threshold's coming.
Yeah, I could just go to 150. Like, it really doesn't matter either way.
And a reminder too, and I meant to say this earlier, but you know, some people do get selected the 150 on random basis. So even if you're like, oh, I'm cruising through this thing, and you hit 86, 87, 88, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're still trying to prove your competence. You just might be one of the lucky winners.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Which stinks.
Yeah. So 84, 85.
84.
Yeah.
Question 85 comes up. It's one I know. I'm like, oh, heck yeah. I know how you can get Hep C. This is awesome. It's a select all that apply. I click my answers. I'm feeling good about that, right? And then my test goes black. And I was like, oh, it happened.
It happened. The glorious moment.
It's done. And I immediately had a smile on my face. And I did the post survey. They locked me out. I go back out to like the room where you can talk and stuff. And the gal was like, well, you're still smiling. And I was like, the whole process this time, I'm telling you, it was so much different. I feel so much better. Yeah. And she was like, well, you know what? I just hope you have a good rest of your day. And I walked out. It was still sunny. I did not feel like crying when I got to my car, which was
maybe
really
tears
nice.
of joy, maybe a couple tears of joy, right?
Yeah. And yeah, it was over with, and it felt great, and I felt so much better about myself. And I immediately called my dad, because he was kind of one of my main supporters throughout this whole process. And I said, you know, I feel so much better. However, if I don't pass, I think I'm just building character. Like, because if I can feel so good about an attempt where I fail, imagine how good I'm going to feel about an attempt where I pass, you know? So, yes.
Karli!
Test day's done. I feel good.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you, not knowing that you passed, right? Do you take a moment to celebrate, or are you saving that?
This was a big internal battle because I felt so good, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, I could get an email within the next 3-4 hours saying that I did not pass.
Right.
So that anxiety peaked right back up. And I had pre-made plans with a friend from nursing school in order to distract myself. And I had my dad too. And this was really funny, but he said, okay, no matter what, we're going to go day drinking today. And I was like, oh, okay, like, sure.
All right.
And he goes, so if you find your email, like, if you get an email in 3 hours, what are we drinking? And I am I don't drink much. And if I do, it's sweet cocktails. I don't want to taste my alcohol. Like, and I said, you know what? If I fail, we're taking a straight whiskey shot. No chaser. I want it to burn. And so subconsciously, I'm nervous about this potential shot that I'm going to have to take. I'm like, So we went to this restaurant and had lunch and had good drinks because I didn't get an email in the 3 hours. Yeah. I didn't get that failure email that I was kind of expecting. Yeah. And so, again, just a full 360 different experience. But now sets in that anxiety of, okay, when am I going to find out?
Mm-hmm.
I don't
you've got
know
a weekend.
for sure.
You've got a weekend. Yeah.
Well, and at that time, I didn't know for sure if it was going to be the weekend. I was checking the Washington Board of Licensing like my life depended on it. I was checking quick results like my life depended on it, and my email, because I was like, what if they just are sending the emails later today?
Yeah.
So that first night, I was a little bit of a crazy person. But me and my friend that night had made a deal for the next day, because she was checking too. She was anxious for me.
Yeah.
And she said, okay, I'm going to check. Like, do you want me to tell you if I know before you? And I said, no, just tell me to check, but I'm not going to check. And so I woke up that Saturday and I didn't check the licensing board of license. I just did my quick results and still nothing.
And if I may interject just for a moment, for those that are wondering what we're talking about, whatever state you're in, I don't know if it's true of all 50 states, but at least here in Washington, and I know many, many others, you can go onto the provider search. For us, it's the Washington State Department of Health. You're doing a provider credential search. And that's how I found out, was because you're doing this obsessively. Like, I didn't want to pay the extra money to find out sooner. I just wanted to, like, log on. Okay, it's still not there. It's still not there. It's still not there. And then if you do pass, it's registered through the state board, and you'll see it on there. So that's what we're talking about there. Sorry, Karli.
It will say active if you pass.
Yeah.
If you don't know and they haven't found out yet, it says pending, and then I don't know what it says if you don't pass. So
yeah, I don't know either, actually.
Yeah. But yeah, I spent that Saturday. I luckily had things to do to keep me busy. And again, thank goodness for my community, for my family. My sister-in-laws had reached out and were like, what are you doing today? Like, you're not going to be alone, right? Like, you're doing something. Like, we don't want you just sitting at home worrying. My mother-in-law did that. My mom did that. Like, I had so many people reaching out, making sure that I was filling my time with things to distract me. And that's exactly what I did that weekend. I focused on the moment in time, and I had a friend's housewarming party, and then I had a dinner with some friends, and I truly just absorbed the great, beautiful moments of that day. And I didn't let the anxiety, it was there, the anxiety was there, but I didn't let it take hold of me. And so that night I decided, since my fiance was gone, I was going to spend the night at my parents', because I knew I was going to find out that 48 hours later at 8 a.m. And so I was like, I would rather just wake up and find out with them than have to wake up, drive over there, and then find out. So I went to sleep. I did not sleep all night. I woke up at like 1 and I checked just in case.
Just in case.
Just in case.
Might as well.
Yeah. It wasn't there. So I went back to sleep, and then I woke up at 7 and I was like, I'll just check just in case. And when I went to my quick results, it said results available. And so I was like, oh gosh, here we go. Here we go. So I said a little prayer, took a deep breath, grabbed my computer. My mom and dad were downstairs in our guest bedroom just kind of hanging out. And I sat on the end of the bed and I said, my results are in. I paid for it. I had to log all my card information in. I had to accept the terms. And
agonizing.
Everything. And then I clicked submit, and it said pass in capital letters. And my mom and I and my dad we got out of bed and we were jumping up and down. We were screaming, crying, like you would have thought we just lost our dog or something.
Oh.
Yeah, it was truly, probably to this day and probably forever, probably one of the best moments I've ever experienced in life. Yeah.
Oh, Karli, congratulations.
Thank you.
Former nursing student, now definitively and officially a licensed peer of mine.
Former NCLEX victim.
Yeah.
Current NCLEX
Victor.
defeater. Yeah.
Yeah. Ah.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I didn't open in the normal way. I'm not going to close in the normal way. You've already given I expected this episode to be gold, and instead it's like, this is platinum. This is pure platinum.
Well, and you know what? I kind of have a little life update to go along with this.
Oh my gosh, let's go.
Yes.
I was going to say, where you go, if it's okay to share,
well,
where are you going with this?
I haven't told you yet because
Wait,
I wanted to tell you here on the podcast.
Oh my gosh.
Throughout this experience, I talked in my last episode that my dream is to be a labor and delivery nurse.
Yes, ma'am.
And I was presented a inside information that they were going to be opening a resident position on my dream labor and delivery unit. Mm-hmm. And they told me to apply for it. And I just found out yesterday that I'm going to be a labor and delivery nurse. And I get to bring you patients like we talked about.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Another hidden thing of like, maybe it was meant to be this way.
Yeah.
Because had I passed the first time, I would have been in my job, and you can't move until you've been in a job for 6 months. So I probably wouldn't have gotten this opportunity. And yeah. So surprise, we're going to be actual legit coworkers.
Oh my gosh. But I mean, and that's it, right? Like, that's the piece right there. In the moment of defeat, you may not understand the timing of it all. And I know I'm not going to go out there and go on this whole, like, you know, I mean, it's God's timing. It's God's will. God made you fail. No.
Yeah.
None of that business.
Right.
But the business is sometimes what seems like a devastating defeat, if you give it the time, the space, and put in the work and the energy on the backside of that to learn from it and to better it, then it becomes a much better scenario than you could have ever dreamed for had you have succeeded the first time, yes?
Yeah, 100% yes, yeah. Literally living out my dreams right now. And it still hasn't comprehended yet. Like, I still can't believe that I get to go to work and do something I have dreamed of since finding my passion for it. But yeah, I'm going to be a labor and delivery nurse.
Oh, you were getting the biggest hug when I see you the first time. Oh my gosh.
I know, I'm so excited.
Now, okay, and I can't help, again, putting on the stupid instructor hat. I can't not do it. But you guys, Karli, here it is, right? Like, what you just went through to pass that dreaded gatekeeper of the NCLEX, right? Mm-hmm. And all that, like you said, you built character. You did build character. Even if you passed, and you still built the character. And so now you're going to be facing all these challenges in the new job, learning new things. Maybe something happens, you have a failure, you experience this, you experience that. Do you feel like you're better equipped to handle those moments now in real life on the job?
1,000% yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Karli.
Yeah.
Karli.
What do they call a nurse that doesn't pass the NCLEX the first time?
What?
A nurse.
And that's how we're ending it. I'm done. Like, no, that was it. Is there anything else you want to share, Karli?
Just, to all of the people listening, if you are gearing up to take your NCLEX, if you haven't taken your NCLEX, you've got this. I believe in you. It may take longer than you think, but you can do it. And there is beauty in failure. There really is.
And there you are, the poster child for just such a thing. Karli, thank you so much. Thank you for being so open.
Of course.
Thank you, because she texted and all the things, and I texted her the day of and all. Mm-hmm. Anyway, and then she's like, I passed, and she's like, oh my gosh. And I said, okay, are you willing to come back on and share your story? Because I cannot I wish I heard this episode before I took my NCLEX for the first time. Yeah, I didn't fail it. I was, you didn't fail it. Like, what? So what? You still have the anxiety. Yeah, you still have the anxiety. You still go through those exact things you're talking about, Karli. And a man, to a woman, every person who goes to sit for that exam, I guarantee you, 99.9% of them are feeling the exact same thing. Mm-hmm. So, Karli, that's gonna just totally empower. Everybody's gonna have Mark K on one shoulder and Karli on the other, going into their exams. They're gonna be like, okay, I got the knowledge on this side, and I got Karli's voice going, you can do this.
Yes.
Like, come on. I love it.
Yes.
Karli,
thank you for having me back.
You're very welcome, and I look forward to seeing you on the unit, my friend.
Of course, yes. And one more thing.
Yeah.
Mom and Dad, I love ya.
Oh, Mom and dads love that. I can tell you right now. And mom and dad, I don't even know you, and I love you.
Yes,
oh my gosh,
love you.
Legit. And I'm going to tell you that, mom and dad, right now, because not everybody has that. And so maybe mom and dad are in the picture, and they just don't care. Maybe mom and dad aren't in the picture. You know what I mean? I've seen it with my own eyes. I've experienced it with my own students. I've all the things. Nobody has the exact same story. Yeah. And the fact that you have both of them, huge hugs to both of you, Mom and Dad, if I ever see you, that's for sure. All right, Karli, you have an amazing rest of your beautiful day, my friend.
You too.
Here's what's happening on the next episode of Feeding Our Young.
I think my actual favorite memory in clinical is I had never even seen a bedpan before. And our nurse told us to clean it out. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do it, I guess. And so I see a hose and I'm like, I'm assuming this is right. And Vanessa's in the bathroom with me and we're like, I'm assuming this is correct, hopefully. So I grabbed the hose and I guess I really underestimated how strong the lever is.
Oh no.
And I just sprayed Vanessa top to bottom, soaking wet. And the whole bathroom is wet. And for 1 second, I think she thought it was poop. I think she was like,
yeah,
I don't know. That's what she told me. So I felt bad for 1 second. So I was like, that's terrifying.
I also wasn't looking, which is why I thought her, like, I was like looking somewhere else. And then I just felt wetness on me. I was like, what is that?
Oh.
Yeah, and I don't know. After we got past the second of, oh gosh, what happened? Because everything's soaking wet. Now we have to actually clean up. After that, I think we just like laughing and being like, this is just something that another major would never have to go through during school.
Oh my gosh.
And we still laugh about it.
Yeah, we still laugh. So.
Did you like today's episode of Feeding Our Young? Want to know more about the Feeding Our Young movement? Check out our website at feedingouryoung.org. Would you like to be featured on a future episode? Maybe have Eric bring his unique brand of encouragement to your nursing students or nurses? Please text us at 509-666-5636 or email us at info@feedingouryoung.org. We're so excited to have you return to hear our next honored guest. Be sure to follow us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Feeding Our Young LLC. Again, that's username Feeding Our Young LLC. Until next time, be encouraged and go find someone to encourage today.